Good evening. I got a good feeling tonight. Yeah.
We're live.
Yes. Jackson, you want to know why I have a good feeling tonight?
Why is that?
Because college football this Saturday is back, and we're back in business, good buddy. That means the turkeys will be trembling. Black Friday will be coming. Labor Day's upcoming. Woo we gotta we gotta contain ourselves, Jackson. Gotta contain ourselves. And you want to know what's even better than that? Is
What's
picks and
that?
analysis and final whistle is back too for season two. We're back again. Woo! I'm all kind of pumped up tonight. Tonight, I need to calm myself down, pace myself. We got a long season ahead. But yes, your eyes do not deceive you. You are on the right television channel or computer channel, whatever you want to call it. Picks and analysis is here. We're back, and college football is back as well. And you know what it is. It's your good buddy Sports Talk with Austin with my partner in crime, and I couldn't do it or ask to do it with anyone else other than the man to my right, Jackson Johnson from the
So
Jacksonians.
close.
Yes. Anywho, over that way in internet land. Jackson, how are you, good buddy? And
Doing all right, man.
do you got a good feeling?
Oh, I got a great feeling. I'm all set and ready to go.
Yes. And 1-2 says, hey guys, college football is back. Yes, it is. It's
Oh,
back and it's better than ever. But with that being said, though, as you see, we have a brand new thumbnail and everything. We're ready to rock and roll. But I am a little sad though, Jackson, that Lee Corso is retiring after week one. I am kind of sad about that, but
but we do get a documentary special out of it on Friday. So, and
yes. But with all that being said, though, Jackson, let's make some picks, shall we? The time,
absolutely.
the time has come, Jackson, to make some picks. Let's not waste any more of these good people's time. And what a way to start off week one. I mean, not week one, week zero. I got ahead of myself. Week zero, noon Eastern on ESPN, Farmageddon in Dublin, Ireland. Iowa State versus Kansas State. And Kansas State opens as a 3-point favorite. Jackson, how you feeling about this game?
Well, I'm looking back at the Kansas State Iowa State rivalry in Farmageddon. I'm looking at the fact that Iowa State has won 5 out of the last 7 matchups against Kansas State. Now, that's pretty huge right there. The only time we've seen Kansas State win against Iowa State in that time has been in 2019 and 2022. Now,
Mhm.
Iowa State's had the upper hand lately, but does that mean they'll have the upper hand in Ireland? We'll wait and see. Now, I can't
Mhm.
wait to see some more magic from Avery Johnson. Like, I'm curious to see what he's going to bring out. And Rocco Bet, that's going to be really good to see
Mhm.
those two go at it.
Yes, it's two experienced quarterbacks in Rocco Beck and Avery Johnson. And that's the story of this game, I think, Jackson. You've got two experienced returning quarterbacks and two teams that are possibly the favorites to win the Big 12, if there ever is a such thing as a favorite to win the Big 12, as some critics would call it. But Rocco Beck and Avery Johnson, they do a lot of different things better than the other. Like Avery Johnson is as athletic as it could get, but he's very turnover prone. Rocco Beck, not as athletic, but not turnover prone. He's very concise with the ball, precise, puts it on the money where it needs to go. I'm liking this matchup, Jackson, for a couple other reasons too. I want to see how Iowa State's offensive production, where's that at? I know it's a week zero game, and you really can't sometimes tell what a team can be. I mean, Florida State was an outlier, I think, last
Oh,
year, but Iowa State lost a lot of production, especially in the receiving room. So I want to see how that is. and Kansas State's defense. That's one of their big calling cards under Chris Kleiman, is always having a very tough, solid defense. This is, for me, Jackson, this is a pretty good game to start in Ireland. I think we're getting a treat. We're getting Iowa State, Kansas State. It's a nice little treat. I'm glad that this is the Ireland game and they didn't give us anything yucky to start out with, but I'm kind of looking forward to this. And what I want to touch on too, Jackson, talk about this game a little bit, is, in your opinion, Jackson, who needs this game more? Like,
in my mind, I think it's Iowa State that needs it more.
Mm-hmm. And why would that be, Jackson? Just in
Because they
light
need momentum for the
Mhm.
2025 season. They really need to show people that they are back in it. They are back on track. They are going to make sure they can go back to the Big 12 title.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing.
They've not won a conference title since 1912.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bad. Well, that's not good.
Mm-hmm. And what I will say to this too is, as well, Jackson, is I understand it. I'm the opposite. I think Kansas State needs this more, especially from a momentum perspective. Because it's been a minute since they've won the Big 12, since they've gotten close. They won it 3 years ago in 2022. And typically that is the Chris Kleiman quota. Wins 8-9 games, wins a Big 12 title. But I feel like if he does not win this game on Saturday, it could begin the questioning. Because Kansas State didn't get a favorable draw. They got some of their harder games on the road this year. Like, they got Utah this year, who a lot of people expect to be better. Of course, they've got Kansas, who everyone's hoping they can return to a 7-8 win under Lance Leopold. I mean, this is interesting. I mean, I could see your point, Jackson, but I just think Kansas State needs this. If they don't win this game, I'm not saying it's a downer on their season, but they've got too much talent to go 9-3. This could be the year they could capitalize and go 10-2. But with that being said, though, Jackson, who do you have winning this game?
Oh, simple. I've got Kansas State winning this one 28-24 against Iowa State.
I got Kansas State as well in a 31-25 Kansas State victory. I think they win it by 6, and they open up with a win. On to Idaho State UNLV.
Well, before we get to that game that no one cares about, Idaho State UNLV, Dave was asking a question about Kansas State, Iowa State. It was originally going to be a Kansas State home game, I believe. But Dan Mullen back in coaching, for the first time in a long time, UNLV's going to beat the living hell out of Idaho State.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. I'm excited to see this game, Idaho State UNLV. UNLV is a 26.5 point favorite, hefty favorite. I'm excited for Dan Mullen, Jackson. I'm glad he's going to get another crack at this after Florida dumped him like that ex-wife. Like, that's what that reminded me of, Jackson. Kind of like that, how when you fall in love with someone and then you give them a nice ring or something, and then all of a sudden, then they dump you for no reason because they think they see a better looking man or something. That's what Florida did to Dan Mullen, in my opinion. And I could see you smiling a little bit, Jackson. So I got you a little bit, which is good for me. But 1-2 says Idaho State will surprise everybody. What do you think about that, Jackson? Are we underselling?
I guess we'll wait and see.
Now, I will say this, though, Jackson. I will say this. And Troy V says, after Mullen threw his team under the bus, he deserved to be shown the door at Florida. I understand that, Troy, but he just took them to the SEC championship game. I mean, I get throwing the team under the bus. That's not a good look, but like, I have a hard time. Okay, B Bean, listen, real fast, Jackson. Mr. B Bean, I don't have that high of a body count. Okay, have you seen me? I'm not that good looking, number one. But I was just getting ahead of the curve with Jackson because Jackson likes to do that. Because Jackson likes to throw out the ex girlfriend references. I thought I would beat him to the punch. Oh my gosh. But obviously, we both have UNLV winning. What's your final score, Jackson?
Oh, UNLV will win 45-14. Move on to the next game, which is a good one between Kansas and Fresno State.
Hold on, Jackson. Let me get my prediction out. Golly, Jackson. See, Jackson's a firecracker, y'all. See, this is what it's like working with him. See? I mean, oh no. Well, Troy, we're going to get to that. I'm sure the season's young. Jackson may not be throwing the babies with the bathwater now, but by next week he might be doing that. Awesome.
What's up, Darrell?
What am I going to be in the doghouse for? Oh my gosh. Hey, look, listen. I may be in the doghouse, but that's okay. I got Jackson. Anywho, we've gone off the rails, and we haven't even. We were trying to have a good season, and we done got off the rails. Thanks, guys. Anywho, UNLV 49-17. But as Jackson said, we do have better games ahead. And that is 6:30 p.m. on Fox, Fresno State at Kansas. Kansas is a 13-point favorite. That's interesting, Jackson. I'm surprised Kansas is that big of a favorite. Because I know Fresno State lost Mikey King. I know that's a big, big loss. He transferred to Michigan. But can Jalen Daniels stay healthy, Jackson? What do you think?
That is going to be the question right there. Yeah, because we don't know if he can, but I'm kind of feeling like that's a no. But there's a few guys we need to watch out for from Fresno State. Alzillian Hamilton, who won the Chuck Bednarik Award. Well, he was on the award. He's on the award list for 2025. EJ Warner, I'm curious to see what he's going to bring in Fresno. And Bryson Donaldson, excuse me, not Brian. Why did I say Brian? Bryson Donaldson. I'm curious to see what he'll bring for Fresno State. But we're going to wait and see what happens with the Bulldogs. But Kansas, let's see if Daniels can stay healthy this season. And if he can't, then oh well. I mean, he's like your Nets Cam Rising, so to speak.
And here's the thing, too, Jackson. And to B Bean's point, Lance Leopold is a good coach. Let me ask you something, Jackson. Do you think Lance Leopold, do you think he might take another coaching job if Kansas has a good year? If they go,
no, he's old.
Jackson. But if Kansas goes 8-4, and this is hypothetical, because I do like Lance Leopold, and I wish him the best in Kansas. But do you think there's still an opportunity for him to get another coaching job, especially after the last couple?
Oh yeah, there's an opportunity where he can get another coaching job, but I think he's happy right where he's at. I mean, he's 61 years old. The man's old. He doesn't want to be leaving Kansas. Like he's set in his ways, man. He's not going anywhere. The time to get him was after 2022.
That's true. But I bring it up though because we have seen it though. The resurgences, the older coaches get a second chance, i.e. Bill Belichick, which we'll talk about next Wednesday night when we preview week 1. Bill Belichick's getting a second chance, Jackson. That's why I bring that up. Because Lance.
Yeah, we ain't talking about Bill Belichick next week for sure. It's like
no, but he's getting a second chance though, Jackson, at North Carolina.
He'd have gotten hired by anybody. Like, why like, wait automatically for North. I mean, you don't need to wait for a college job. You can just get any old NFL job. I guarantee it. But anyway, moving on.
But I will say this though, I do think if Kansas goes 8-4, 9-3, if they do have a good bounce back year like that, I would say Leopold will be on a lot of candidates' offers. Like he'll be on a lot of teams' offering sheets, so to speak. I won't say that he won't take them, but I think he'll look at them. Now,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and like Troy V said, sometimes a good buy is a second chance.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
And B Bean throwing that in there too. We'll get to that next week too, Bean.
Yeah, we'll talk Bill Belichick next week. We're not talking about tonight, and we're not talking about Belichick on Saturday either.
Jackson, he brings ratings in though. I mean, you do gotta admit that. But back to the whole point
Put
though.
some in my Cash App, then we'll talk about it.
Okay. Jackson's like, I'm not a greedy man. Just throw in a nice cool 50 and we'll slip it in. But in all seriousness though, I do think if Kansas does have a really good bounce back year, he could be on like an offering sheet for somebody. I do think that's a possibility. So that is interesting. But as far as this game goes, this Jackson, for a lot of week 0 games, a lot of times you get the Dublin Ireland game, which is the headliner, which we just talked about, and then you kind of get a lot of cupcake games. But you remember SMU Nevada last year, Jackson? That ended up being a very, very good game in week 0. So Fresno, Kansas, I think will be a sneaky good game for week 0. I won't be surprised if this is like a field goal game. But Jackson, I'll let you pick first.
Why are they putting Kansas as a 13-point favorite?
I know,
I
right?
like Kansas, but they should not be a 13-point favorite over Fresno. I mean, at least they should be a 3-point favorite or a 4-point favorite on this one. Because like Fresno State's really good against Power 4 teams.
Mm-hmm. Vegas.
It's like the Vegas odds makers have learned nothing.
Yes.
Like is some secretary putting their lip in your throat to the point where you're not even focusing? Like, good grief.
Mm-hmm. And like you just mentioned, Bean says here, that's the thing. Y'all remember? I'm sure Jackson is.
No.
But like
my feelings are not part of the reason. Trust me, my guy.
Mm-hmm. But I will say this though, Jackson, about Fresno. You remember a couple years ago, Jackson, they played Purdue pretty tough and won that game. Actually, they beat Purdue a couple years ago, and then last year against Michigan, they played Michigan all the way to like the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter. It was like 17-10. I think it was like 8 minutes to go until Mikey Keene threw 2 pick sixes. I think it was. So Fresno plays these teams really tough. And like you said, the odds makers 13, I think that's a little steep. But to your pick, though, Jackson.
Oh, yeah. But I guess we're going ahead and making the prediction on Fresno, Kansas, huh?
Yeah. If you don't have anything else to add, we can.
No. I'm going to say Kansas wins 31-28 over Fresno.
I'll say Kansas 24-21. I think they win by a field goal. And Touchdown Talk CFP edition, Jackson, says Kansas should be a 7.5-point spread. 12.5 is too much. I agree. Me and Jackson are both in agreement that Vegas is overhyping Kansas just a little bit much. I would say about 7.5, 7.5 is a good spread. What do you think, Jackson?
Like I said earlier, it should be like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm. I mean, here's the thing, Jackson. Why do you think Vegas put it that high? Do you think
because they're lazy? They're lazy on week 0. They don't care.
At 7 p.m., Jackson, on CBS Sports Network, You've got Sam Houston at WKU, which is here not too far from my hometown, not too far down the road here. WKU is a 10-point favorite at home. Jackson, WKU favored to win their conference, I believe, but Sam Houston, Jackson coming along. It's interesting.
Not that interesting, but I might as well watch something because it's week 0. So,
Jackson, you know what you always tell me, right? That these games like this, Jackson, are great for week 0.
Well, yeah.
And touchdown.
That's why I said I'll watch it because it's week 0 and I'm bored out my mind.
Touchdown Toxia P Edition says this game screams over. And B Bean says WKU always puts up points. They do. But Sam Houston played some good games last year. That's the thing. They played some really good games. Now, as far as this game goes, don't be surprised, Jackson, if this is a really fun, entertaining week 0 type game. But the floor is yours, good buddy.
Oh, Western Kentucky's going to beat their eyes out is what's going to happen.
Lord have mercy. See, this is what Jackson is. Hey, if it's these type games, Jackson's just like, I'm over it. I'm done. This is above my pay grade.
I mean, Sam Houston literally got the offensive coordinator from Wisconsin who was fired, recently fired. Now, I hope it works out for Sam Houston, but we'll wait and see.
So you're going WKU, Jackson. What's your final score then?
Oh, they're going to beat the living hell out of Sam Houston. It's going to be 35-14.
I'll say WKU 38-28. I think they cover the spread. And 1-2 says Stanford wins by 2 scores. Don't believe me, just watch. Well, 7:30 on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stanford at Hawaii, and Hawaii is a 2.5-point favorite, Jackson, over them fighting Stanford Cardinals. What do you think?
Stop underestimating Frank Wright, Vegas. I mean, did you learn nothing in the past 40 years of history? What happens when you underestimate Frank Wright? Maryland makes a humongous comeback in 1985 over the Miami Hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Frank Wright leading the Bills into a humongous comeback over the Houston Oilers in the 93 wild card playoffs. And, unfortunately, he got fired by – okay, I promised I wouldn't say anything negative about Jim Irsay for the rest of the year because he's dead. But 2026 – I can say whatever the hell I want about Irsay starting on New Year's Day. But one of the miscalculations of Irsay was firing Frank Wright. See, I can be nice, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Touchdown Talk CFB Edition says, on the island, week 0 is always tough. Yeah, that's the funny thing too, Jackson. I'm surprised this isn't like a midnight game. Being in Hawaii, which is surprising. And here's the thing, Jackson. I understand your.
Oh, I was a year off on Miami, Maryland. That was 1984. You were saying, Austin.
Here's the thing, Jackson. I understand you like Frank Wright, but once again, Jackson, we have to put in context. We're talking about Stanford, good buddy. They are just like. They're that team that plays down to the competition a lot of times and show up for the big games like they did against Louisville last year, which, of course, they beat us. I don't want to relive that. And Darrell, if you're here, don't you even say it. But we could have went to the ACC title game, but I digress. It's a new season. We're going to forget about that. Austin. Let it go.
You forget 1,000 things every day. Make sure this is one of them.
Yes. But Stanford, though, I feel like they just made – I hope for Frank Wright's sake that this is a new regime on life and Stanford football is going to be competitive. But I just think, Jackson, like Dave said, though, Stanford does not care about football until they play Cal. Everything else is just postseason for the Cardinal. And I agree. I just think it's hard for me to see a world where Stanford comes in and be like, "This is a new season. Let's put it together." I like Frank Wright. Don't get me wrong, but it just seems like I don't know. But go ahead though, Jackson. I just don't know about Stanford if they really have the right attitude.
Well, they're going to have the right attitude under Frank Wright, that's for sure.
And Babine, listen, why are you people torturing me? Jackson's the one over here trying to get your money, people. Why are you torturing poor me?
I
I will block you. I know how to take a joke to the almighty Gator, but to Stanford, Hawaii, though.
The Timmy Chang era.
Go ahead.
It's just been not bad. It's just not good so far. Like they are trying to do what Nebraska did by bringing back when Nebraska was bringing back Scott Frost, but Hawaii decided, okay, we're gonna bring back the good old days with Timmy Chang. Yeah, that's not working out so far. It's disastrous. That it's hell. It's hell on paradise for Hawaii.
Yeah, and it's just like, here's the thing too, Jack, that I want to say is about that is Hawaii. They're just that team that's there. I think a lot of times. And Dave here says, I think Stanford is getting everything in order to create a powerhouse sustainably. That would be something because, listen, before Stanford went down the road they did, they were really good at football. Does Christian McCaffrey ring a bell to anybody? Does Andrew Luck ring a bell to anybody? Does Jim Harbaugh ring a bell to anybody? Does a Pac-12 championship victory over USC ring a bell to anybody? So Stanford has good history, but they've just gone so downhill. It's just like Stanford could be a really good program again and could compete in the ACC if they get it together. But they're just not getting it together. And Dave Lindsay says, John Elway, exactly. And B. Bean says, comments about Frank Wright, 1-year tenure at Stanford, unprecedented, unusual thoughts. What do you think, Jackson?
Well, we'll wait and see. I think if he can do a great job this year, get him to a bowl game, I think Andrew Luck's going to promote him to full-time head coach.
I think so too. If Stanford wins 6-7 games, I think Frank Wright will earn himself a job. I do. I mean, and it starts here. I mean,
because like Andrew Luck heard something about what was going on with Troy Taylor. It was funny though. You know, you can look back on my Jack Stone episode, Ruby Dreyer Finley, who's part of the production team at College Game Day. And it was funny though. Like before we ended that episode, we saw that Troy Taylor. I mean, there was like a notification on my phone. I'm saying, "Oh my God, Troy Taylor got fired." Oh my God. He was talking that smack to the female staffers. I'm like, yeah, you're done for, buddy. So it's like, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like Troy Taylor showed his ass when we heard that stuff.
Ooh, and Troy V says, ask, better pro career, Luck or Reich? Ooh, now, two different things. One was a head coach and one was a quarterback.
Well, and Wright was a QB in the NFL at one point.
Yeah.
Don't forget about that.
I remember, but Frank Wright's got the coaching under his belt as well, in the pros as well. So if Troy's basing it off just quarterback, then who won more playoff games? I think Andrew Luck did, correct, Jackson? Because the Colts went to the AFC Championship, I know, in 2015. 2014, because that was the Patriots Deflategate game
Mm-hmm.
where everyone said Brady deflated the balls, Brady and Belichick. And then they beat the Broncos one year in the playoffs as well. And then they come back against the Chiefs. There's 3. But to his question, though, Jackson, I'm overthinking.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think had a better career, pro career?
I think Luck did, but, it's all right, But I'm just like, Luck got screwed and Wright got screwed.
Mm-hmm.
They
But
both got screwed big time. So,
but I will say this though, Jackson.
but yes,
Stanford, Hawaii. Are you ready to make a prediction?
oh yeah, Stanford's gonna win this one, 31-24.
Okay, Jackson. I'm gonna say Stanford as well. 38-36. I think we have a shootout in Hawaii, and Stanford wins it on a field goal. But I will. Okay. Troy was just testing us, but
Yep.
Jackson, I don't think we disagreed this week at all. You've got Kansas State winning. I've got Kansas State. We both have UNLV. We both picked Kansas. We both picked WKU, and we both picked Stanford. So, Jackson, either we're going over together or we're going undefeated together.
Yeah.
And Touchdown Talk CFB says, I lean Hawaii this game. Too many question marks surrounding Stanford still. That's a good point. I would not be shocked if Hawaii wins this game because we've seen some wacky week 0 results. Like I said, Nevada SMU last year was a good one. SMU, I think, was like a 24.5-point favorite, and they survived by a touchdown. So it was just one of them wacky results, and you're going to get wacky results, but obviously, the headline game this week is Farmageddon in Dublin, which will be noon on ESPN. I'm looking forward to it as well. But Jackson, Jackson, since we're feeling generous, would you like to take some calls tonight?
Absolutely.
Well, since there's not many games, and let's get the viewers' thoughts on this week 0 and just the things surrounding college football. Now, don't bring up Bill Belichick unless you're going to pay Jackson that money. I mean, good money. Jackson needs like $500 cash so he can fill up his Tesla, Mr. Moneybags. But all kidding aside, though, we'll put the link in the chat here if you would like to call in. And Big Bean's having a fun time with it. And Dave Lynch says Georgia Tech, Florida State, literally known that Florida State was going to be awful. Yeah. Listen, everyone thought that was a slip up. Like, not a single person here could have said, oh, Georgia Tech beating Florida State was the start of Florida State's downfall. No person here, unless you went to the future, could predict that. And no one could predict SMU's run to the ACC championship game either off that one.
And no one could predict the Florida State guy that was saying he would eat dog poop on a red Solo cup if they lost to Boston College, but never went through on the bet.
Exactly. So it's just one of them you just never know. But I will say this, though, Jackson. I am excited, though. Even though week 0 is like your appetizer, for picks and analysis, we're just getting back into the things. And here's the thing, Jackson. Next week, we're going to have a full slate of games. We're going to have barbecues. We're going to have a nice full slate barbecue with the family, grilling steaks and hamburgers. And Jackson, it's going to be a good time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to it, but I will say this, though, Jackson. One thing I do want to talk about is, in and this is typical week 0. But what do you think about Jackson, Auburn, and Florida State trying to claim the national championships? What do you think about that?
Oh, you won a natty before Arizona and New Mexico became states. Good for you, Auburn. Good for you.
and
I'm going to clown on them some more on the call-in show Thursday night. That's going to be so fun.
Lord have mercy. I just find it funny, Jackson, that these teams are trying to claim national titles, especially Florida State. And it's just like, and Michigan won the thing. Whether you thought they won it fair and square or not, they won it. And 1-2 says Auburn needs a better coach. Oh, don't even get Jackson started on Hugh Freeze. We'll be here all night.
Oh.
Go ahead, though, Jackson. Go ahead.
But yeah, it's just so funny hearing Auburn claim the natty in 1910. I don't think everybody really cared about college football in 1910. There was no AP poll or coaches poll back then. There were no preseason polls. Oh my god!
And that's the thing, Jackson, is Auburn that desperate that they need to claim a 1910?
We're just like Alabama. We're just like Alabama. We're claiming natties from 1910 and 1913. Nobody cares about 1910 or 1913. Like, oh my god, it's. I mean, you have somewhat of a claim on 1958, but Georgia Tech kind of ended it for you. But that's it, really.
Mm-hmm. And of course, B Beans reminding you, Jackson, that Bama plays at Jordan Hare this year. Got kick 6. See, here's the thing, B Bean. You ain't gonna get no reaction out of Jackson. Like, that's the thing with him. He's a stone cold killer. Like, his face doesn't change 1 minute to the other. But with that being, and before we get to our caller here, 1-2 says Freeze delivers a bowl game or he's fired. Yeah,
accurate.
And if he doesn't win the bowl game, it might be as well. But with that being said, though, Jackson, it would not be a college football season, Jackson. It would not be an Austin and Jackson show without this man calling in. The man, the myth, the legend, the real MVP. How you doing tonight, Dario? And happy
I'm
college.
doing well. How about you two, gentlemen?
Doing all right. Well. Just staying busy as much as possible, good buddy.
Yeah, I know. We've only got, I think I can even count this one down, Jackson. 2 days before games start. Not I did, Jackson.
Give me 2.
2 if you're on the East Coast. 3 if you're on the West Coast, to be exact and precise about it. The main takeaway, other than the Kansas State-Iowa State game, because that's easily the more key matchup, is, man, I knew Stanford was down bad because they're Stanford, but being dogs to Hawaii, my gosh.
I know. Listen, here's the thing, Dario. Here's the thing with Stanford. If they beat Hawaii, that's their Super Bowl. They could celebrate it. That's where they are right now.
Yeah, that's bad. That's just real bad. I mean, is Stanford going to win a single game in the ACC this year? I guess that's going to be the next logical question, because if you're underdogs to Hawaii, and by the way, I don't care if the game's played in Hawaii. It shouldn't matter where the game's played because they're playing Hawaii. Are they going to be favored in a single ACC game? Are they just clearly the worst team in the ACC? Like, I knew they had offseason drama with their coach and their program was in shambles, but this is bad.
I could see them being favored against Cal, Dario, but that's not saying much, to be honest with you.
And they're about in as bad shape as Stanford is. I guess that's why no one wanted them during conference realignment. You know.
Yeah. They just gave, here, ACC, have something nice. Like, good for you.
Have free wins on your schedule.
Yeah.
So,
Listen.
it's
If Stanford gets beat by Hawaii, or if they're getting smacked like going into the third quarter, or like midway to the fourth quarter, and it's like they're defeated by 20 points or something, I'm probably just gonna watch South Park rerun by that time.
Okay. So
like,
to
here's
your
their
point,
schedule, and this is a reminder that you got it pulled up. I mean, look at that schedule. I mean, it's not. There's no real test other than SMU, Miami, and Florida Notre Dame. But if you're underdogs to Hawaii, like they're probably the worst team, maybe Cal, that they play. Even San Jose State is a decent Mountain West team. Like, there's a possibility here we're going 0-12 alert here. The reverse perfection.
Oh, you have to be a sicko if you're watching Stanford, Virginia in week 4.
Here's the thing, Daryl. I could see them being favored against Pitt, possibly, because the Pitt's going to them. I could see that. Stanford always beats that one team. And Daryl, as much as I don't like saying this as a Louisville fan, they're going to beat that one team again. And that could be.
I guess, are they going to be favored in any of these games? Is there a single game on here saying, man, Stanford's clearly going to beat this team? Check mark it as a dub on the schedule.
Virginia, maybe.
Oh gosh, even Virginia. I mean, I think Virginia, they have people. They got human beings playing on their team, right? I mean, somebody in the state of Virginia has to have talent.
Indiana's scared of Virginia. Remember that, folks.
That's true. I mean, Virginia's got the coaching advantage. I like Tony Elliott more than whoever Stanford hired. So, and that's how irrelevant Stanford is. I do not know who Stanford hired.
Frank Wright.
Oh, wow. Man, it's going to be a tough season from Florida State. Gosh, that would be funny. That would be hilarious.
That's why I put out a link of one of my Jack Stone episodes where it's like my guest and I, had some laughs on Troy Taylor getting fired.
Yeah. Daryl, to be honest with you, like me and Jackson were not high on Stanford. Well, Jackson, I think, had Stanford going to a bowl game when we predicted the ACC.
That ain't happening. I'm telling you that right now. That ain't happening.
So here's the thing, Daryl. Direct that at Jackson. I had Stanford winning 3 games, and I was trying to be nice. 3 games. And 2 of them were out of conference.
Relax, guy. Take a load off.
I had them beating Hawaii, San Jose State, and I had them upsetting, I think, upsetting Florida State, I think it was.
No, well, I'm looking on ESPN.
I actually had Stanford going 2-10.
My apologies.
Yeah. Although I'd like to see him go 6-6 though. That'd be cool.
Well, I'm looking at the ESPN's FPI tool, and I know it's terrible and everybody hates it. And I generally agree it's not that good of a tool. They're favored to beat right now. Again, this is right now. Boston College, San Jose State, Florida State. By the way, the Florida State game for percentages is 62-38. Which, I know, tells you how good Florida State's season is. And Pitt, and I think Cal. Yes, they're favored 57-43.
Oh, yeah, Cal's horse done. That's the thing.
They're favored to win 5 games. I'm sorry, if you're an ACC team and you go 5-7, but you lose to Hawaii, I'm sorry, I have literally no respect for your conference at all. Like, an average ACC team shouldn't lose to Hawaii. You want to know why? There's a bunch of SEC teams and Big Ten teams in the playoffs because average ACC teams lose to Hawaii. That's why. I mean, you can't be losing to Hawaii. I mean, it's Hawaii. You can't be losing to the Rainbow Warriors.
Listen, I wish I could defend that in some way, being the ACC guy. But at some point, you just got to admit when it's over. And Darreel's got a good point. If we're at the point where Hawaii is considered a big victory, all respect is lost.
You need Jesus if Hawaii is your biggest win of the season.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And by the way, this happened a few years ago. If somehow Stanford beats Hawaii, this doesn't magically make it an impressive ACC win, okay? Just because Vegas says something, reality tells us something else as well. Okay, and Hawaii's probably going to go 6-6, 5-7, or 7-5 because that's basically what they do when they go to the Hawaii Bowl every single year. So it's a complete joke. There was a team, I forget who it was a few years ago. People were like, well, they beat this team who was completely terrible. And it's like, it's only because Vegas said so. That's why everybody put as an impressive win. I wanted to ask you, quietly in the night, I guess, or maybe in the daytime, the College Football Playoff Committee clarified some rule changes for this upcoming season. Have you two gentlemen seen what they've done to metrics?
If you're trying to recover a fumble, you're automatically a defenseless player.
Well, I wasn't talking about that. I haven't seen that. I was talking about the College Playoff Committee, Jackson, and what they've done with
the strength of schedule. Yeah.
Right. I've been saying all offseason, a 9-3 team is going to make the playoffs this year. And I've also been saying we're going to see some signals, some signs that, they're going to give us like, hey, you got to have this and this. I'll tell you what, you look at their statement they released. It said the current schedule strength metric has been adjusted to apply greater weight to games against strong opponents. I wonder which conferences that could benefit and which ones those could hurt. An additional metric, record strength, has been added to the selection committee's analysts to go beyond a team's schedule strength to assess how a team performed against the schedule. I mean, listen, this just has 9-3 flashing all over it, gentlemen. Now, you want to get crazy, maybe even an 8-4 Florida could get in under this.
See, here's the thing, Daryl. What I want to bring up is, and I'm glad you brought it up, and I wish Jeffrey was here, but this needs to be said. I don't know how anybody can defend Kurt Cignetti any longer when he's out here trolling the SEC saying, oh, we only schedule because that's what the SEC does every year. And listen, I understand why he says that. But here's the thing, Kurt Cignetti. You're just making yourself a big goof by saying that. You're Indiana. You had one great year. Like, if you go 11-1 again, then you could start talking. See the real, and he's all for the schedule. We're finally going to get to play this, that, and the other. And you're the guy over here canceling games. You're over here running from Virginia, for Christ's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what these people say, and I'm going to include everybody that doesn't wear that big, beautiful SEC logo. It's, well, the SEC only plays non-conference games. Well, the SEC hardly plays anybody in non-conference schedule. When they can't really defend their position, you just attack somebody else, and that's all these people are doing. And listen, it's going to be great. So great. If in Michigan now, I think if they go 10-2, there's a chance they miss the playoffs under this rule change. And that would be poetic justice in a way because they cheated and all that stuff. Because look at their schedule. It's horrible. The only two teams with a decent record they play is Oklahoma and Ohio State. Sorry, you won 10 games against scrubs. You shouldn't get in.
No. And here's the thing too, Jackson. Typically Darrell would be considered the bad guy here, right? The villain of the story. But here's the thing. I was leaning more towards, you know what? Give Indiana a pass. They're poor old pity Indiana. They need a break. But I'm starting to lean like Darrell now. If you want to act big and tough and you want to act like you're a powerhouse and you can win it all, start scheduling like it. Start acting like it, Michigan. Start acting like it, Indiana. You want to go around here saying, we're the big dogs now. We run this. Well, guess what? Start scheduling like it. Schedule your Alabamas, your Kansas States, your Iowa State. Start scheduling better.
And there's no excuse because the Big Ten has laid out their schedule way ahead of time. So years generally what years is going to be stronger and what years is going to be weaker. Because let's be honest, I mean, if you're not playing, let's say 3 or 2 out of these teams, your odds are your Big Ten schedule's crap. And those teams are Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, USC, and I think Oregon. I don't know if I mentioned them or not, but if you don't play two of those teams, your schedule's probably going to be crap.
Mm-hmm.
And Michigan. I guess I need to include them.
and Dave here says there isn't a world that a 10-2 Michigan gets left out of the playoffs so long as TV is playing. And here's the thing. I want to back this up. Where was that for Alabama last year? Why did they get left out? Because even though they were 9-3, they still beat Georgia. They could have easily screwed SMU or Indiana out of a spot like they did Florida State and just been like, Bama beat Georgia. That's all that counts. You two played in weak schedule. Get out. But they didn't. So I don't think TV necessarily would play a part of it if you think about it. What do you think, Daryl?
I think this is an Occam's razor situation where the simplest explanation is the most likely one. The reason that Alabama got in the playoffs is because the playoff committee wanted an out. Jordan Travis got hurt. They got their out. What was the out last year? Well, Alabama has 3 losses. SMU has 2. There's our out. If Michigan is 10-2 and you got a 9-3 team like LSU, somebody's got echo, sorry. Louisville, Alabama, Georgia, teams with ridiculous schedules, there should be selected in over a team that plays Purdue, Minnesota, Wisconsin, a bunch of scrubs.
Go for it, Jackson.
Oh man, I'm just curious to see about how the new system work out, or the new idea of the new system. We're gonna try to go for 24-28. I think that's a little dumb, but that's
a
just
little.
me.
Do you think the moon being made of cheese conspiracy theory is a little dumb, Jackson? Because this is in the same range as that, in my opinion. You know how people believe gnomes steal car keys and stuff? Do you think that's a little dumb?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
don't go leaving the car keys. Like, we really should go. We really need to just be at 8 teams, honestly.
But did you see Nathaniel Brown, the college football mafia guy, with Mark Rogers advocating for a 64-team playoff?
I love my guy Nathan Brown.
I like him too, but my gosh.
But I disagree with the need to go to 64 teams.
Hey, let's guarantee basically every Power 4 team makes the playoffs every single year. Why even have a regular season at that point if we're going to eliminate 8 Power 4 teams? Louisville would be guaranteed to make the playoffs basically every year. They have Jeff Braun, and they're not some powerhouse team. Even Missouri's, Arkansas's, everybody saw Arkansas last year, and we think, man, they're guaranteed to be in the playoffs. I mean, it's ridiculous and nonsensical in my opinion. It's an unserious proposal.
Well, here's the thing too, Daryl. Even with this new 25-28 situation that they're proposing, that's preposterous because more than likely, Daryl, Louisville, even though a lot of people won't say it, Louisville would probably be in it most years.
Yeah, you would have been in it this last year at 8-4.
Yeah, Florida, they would have been in it.
Well, they weren't. I think they were just left out. Michigan was the last team in at 7-5. With their mighty impressive schedule that they did. I mean, they just looked like a playoff team all year, barely beating Arkansas State by 10 points. When I saw that game, I thought, man, that's a team I want in the playoffs. They beat Arkansas State 28-18. That's who I want represented at the elite of college football right there. You know who else is there? And a game I really want to see? I want to see Baylor last year, who finished 7-5, go to Ohio State. I mean, we don't know Baylor's worse than Ohio State. I mean, sure, we all have eyes and we can watch games and we all have brains that can determine this. But no. I need to see Ohio State beat them by 72 points to do it. And you know what else I want to see? I want to see the United States Army go up against Alabama. I mean, can you imagine what that would be like? I want to see Jalen Miller run for what's the all-time running record for a quarterback in a single game? Whatever it is, double it. and then Jalen Miller will probably have that.
You know what, Daryl? While we're at it, Daryl, why don't we have, since we're throwing hypotheticals out there, Daryl, why don't we have Colorado go to LSU? That sounds like a good game.
Austin, I'm not throwing out hypotheticals. I'm throwing out what would have happened last year based on the 2018 playoff. That's the beautiful part. This isn't even hypothetical. None of what I said was hypothetical.
Well, then that can happen then. Colorado goes to LSU.
Yeah. Louisville would have been in. They would have went to Indiana. They probably would have won that game since Indiana decided to play the little, the school of the blind and the school of the deaf in their first non-conference game. So,
listen, Daryl, that would have been a good draw. I mean, think about it, Daryl. I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah, everybody would have just been like, wow, a 25 seed beat an 8 seed, guys. This is going to change the entire course of the national championship race. We all thought Indiana was a legit team to win it all.
Hey, Daryl, though, think about it though. Louisville and Kentucky, we're national championship contenders with this proposed format. We can win it, even though we go to LSU or we go to Notre Dame, we're going to get killed.
Yeah. You only have to win, 5 games? Is that right? 5 games?
Yeah, that's a piece of cake. We got it.
So let's say they're getting rid of conference championship games because who wants to see Ohio State play Oregon or Penn State play Oregon or Michigan play Penn State? We want to see Baylor, Ohio State. We want to see Army, Alabama. That's what everybody's clamoring for. Michigan would have been in. They would have played who would have they played? I think they would have played Notre Dame, actually, which would have been a cool matchup. But no, this is a complete joke. I mean, it's a complete joke. Everybody kind of knows it's a joke. First off, you get every single the worst aspect of every single model and just distill it into one. Buy still. I mean, we've expanded to the point where it shouldn't even be possible to have buys in a playoff model. With the 28 teams, we couldn't just have one play 28, two play 27, and so on and so on. We had to have it to where we had 4 buys. Okay.
It's kind of like, telling somebody it's raining when they're really just being peed on.
Oh, gosh. That's a weird way of looking at it, Jackson.
That's the truth.
Something else, the imbalance of the buys. I mean, think about it from a mathematical perspective. I know this isn't going to happen. You could go 5-7 under this model and be guaranteed to make the playoffs. Think about it. You may not be eligible to make a bowl game, but can make the playoffs. Not just make it, but be guaranteed in it. Because you lose all 3 of your non-conference games. You go 5-4 in the Big Ten. You're in. I mean, that's ridiculous. Any system in which a sub-500 team has a mathematical chance to make a playoff, that system needs to be erased. I know it's a similar argument to the 13-0 thing, but eventually that happened. So they're, honestly, they're preseason games. The first 3 to 4 weeks of the season. I mean, Jackson, that's what I want in my college football is preseason NFL games. That's what everybody I'm sure has been clamoring for is, man, we just all love preseason games that don't really matter and don't really count toward anything and that don't matter at all. That's why the sport was great for hundreds of years, right? It's just a complete joke. It's a complete joke. And the fact the Big Ten is pushing this is shameful. If the SEC was pushing it, I would be saying the exact same thing, or the Big 12 or the ACC. It would kill the sport.
Let me ask you something, Daryl. If, obviously the SEC and Big Ten have won the majority of national titles over the last couple of years, but let's just say this year a Big 12 or ACC team wins.
Okay.
Does that change anything? Would that?
I mean, not really, because Clemson, the only team that can do it is Clemson. And Clemson is, just one team. They're basically, in my opinion, like Notre Dame, where they're kind of out on an island. I mean, the rest of their conference is basically horrible outside of like Notre Dame, Miami. And then SMU's okay. Louisville's decent. Georgia Tech's decent, along with Duke. But, I mean, I just showed you Stanford in the middle, an average ACC team this year is supposed to lose to Hawaii. Sorry, I can't respect that conference, even if they win the national championship. A 4-4 projected ACC team is supposed to lose to Hawaii.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, Darrell. That's what makes it hard when trying to defend them, because it's just like Hawaii, really, Stanford. You're not even favored against them. Can anyone name me a Hawaii player right now? Do do do.
Oh man, Burt's. I'm loving his comment where he says, "If we get a 2018 playoff, I'm going to be hate watching college football for the rest of my life." Oh man, that's funny.
And can you believe there's actual people out there defending this? Like, I just want to know, like, I'm not trolling when I say this. Why do you watch college football? Like, I watch college football because it's the most important, meaningful regular season where every game matters. Even if you're 1-9, you have a chance at the end of the year to potentially upset and ruin somebody's season.
Mm-hmm.
You 28 teams, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm. And what I want to add to it too, Daryl, is I think the reason why these proposals keep getting bigger and bigger is because they see the magic of March Madness in college basketball.
Oh, Lord.
And the reason why I bring it up, Daryl, because that has been thrown around. The magic of March Madness. They're like, we want to bring this to college football. And it's just like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. What is the chance Alabama loses to a Colorado most years? Not very
It'd be
likely.
worse than that if it's 64.
They're trying to capture March Madness magic, Daryl, when in college basketball, that's when it's special. When a Kentucky gets upsets by Oakland or Minnesota takes Louisville down. It can't. I'm not saying Ohio State couldn't lose to a Grambling State in college football, but I would bet the farm on Ohio State winning that game and covering. I mean, them throwing out that March Madness magic, ridiculous football. What do you think about that, Daryl?
I think college basketball is a different sport than college football. And for people to be comparing sports and comparing cross sports is what's going to lead to the death of college football. I mean, people are trying to make college football into something it's not. And this is why I was against the whole playoff. You know, have you all heard of the slippery slope fallacy before? In my opinion, it's not really a fallacy, but that's what it's called. When you start at a position, you give a little bit of room, and you end up all the way at the bottom of the slope, you can't stop anything. That's where it feels like where we are at the playoffs. It's like, well, we expanded to 4. Well, we can't stop at 12. We might as well keep going to 16. Well, how about 28? Well, it'll be 32 next week, and then it'll be 64 a few years, and then it'll be under 28 teams. And ironically, we'll end up in the same place where we start, where maybe we should just have a regular season in which if you lose a game or two, you're out of it. And every week's kind of like its own little playoff. You know, I kind of like that sport.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, instead we need it to where Jackson has to watch Army play Alabama and pretend he's excited. When we all know at the end of 6 minutes, 21 seconds on the first quarter, it'll be 21-0. That would be my prediction if Army played Alabama.
Off air, I'm just going to go, what did I just watch?
Yeah, I wouldn't watch it. Like I told you all this year. I hardly watched any of the playoff games because they were uncompetitive. But, you know, I was out doing stuff, and then I flipping on. I missed 15, I felt like 30 actual minutes of the Penn State SMU game, not in game time, but real life. It was 21-0. I didn't watch hardly any plays of that game because it's like, well, why would I watch a 21-0 football game? Why would I watch that?
Because you might see a comeback, but not on Penn State SMU.
Right, exactly. If I predict the game to go a certain way, and I come home, and the average person, by the way, this is their, in my opinion, their thought process. They don't know exactly when the games are coming on, what time. They just want to flip on and see some football. And then it's 21-0, they'll be like, I got other things I got to do. And by the way, this playoff last year was a complete failure. Not a single team that was underdogs won a single game. I don't know how you can construe anything else other than that, then it's a failure.
Well, I think it's because of it being 1 year, but if this is happening like in year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5, that's where more people are going to question this whole thing.
I hope we make it to that point, Jackson. I hope we make it to year 3 or year 4 without them changing it again, just for the sake of changing it, then changing it again. I mean, we already got some slight changes from last year to this year with the straight seating and all that stuff. So I hope that's the case. But to me, I know you all asked at the beginning of this to tie it back to the stream was Kansas State, Iowa State. Who's it more important for? And I mean, this is a Big 12 conference game. So it's equally important to both of these teams because in the Big 12, you can lose a maximum of 2 conference games and still have a chance for the college football playoff. Because none of these teams are getting in at large spots. Anybody thinks that's crazy. So this is an equally important game. This is probably going to be one of the most important games to start out the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Now, there's going to be games we look back on that are more important and games that are less important. So it just depends how it all shakes out in that aspect, but that's my thoughts on it. Jackson, would you agree with that generally, that this is an equally important games to both teams?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Now, what do you think the odds of because there's not going to be a 7-1 and 2 7-1 teams in this league making it in. Do you think
anything can happen in the world of the Big 12? Like, we don't know who's getting in the Big 12 title game for sure.
I mean, yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying with the competitiveness of this conference, I'd be surprised if 2 teams separated themselves that much. So even if you're Iowa State, you lose this game, you can be like, well, we lost a little bit of wiggle room, but we're still in this thing. Same thing with Kansas State. They lost a little bit of their wiggle room, their margin of error, but they still got plenty of time to course correct and make it to the playoffs.
I mean, Arizona is considered a non-con game this year for Kansas State again.
Oh, is that because of rescheduling? I mean, realignment?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's. I don't like that. That's silly to me. Because you're taking away a data point from the committee that, could be helpful, could be useful.
There is no rule saying you can't make one of your conference opponents a non-con. I mean, hell, Alabama did it in 1981 with Ole Miss. That worked out fine.
Yeah, I know, but it's just, I wouldn't be a fan of it personally. I didn't want to see it.
I wish Alabama did it with Ole Miss, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I listened last year. It would have been super helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, it could have made you all in. I mean, you all would have had a 5th better win than SMU if you did that. And they won the game.
Yeah.
Maybe the 5th win would have been the magical number.
Oh, yeah. And it would have been an amazing crossover on Alabama with the boys college football and Ole Miss at the boys college football. Oops. Cat's out of the bag now.
So, Jackson, let me ask you this: who do you like in the Big G5 to make the playoffs? Is UNLV the team? Fresno? No. Boise State?
Oh yeah, Boise.
I'm going with Toledo personally. I'm just going to be a Rocket. I think they're going to beat Kentucky, and I'm just trying to cope with it by saying they're going to be a playoff team. It's only 8.5. Jackson, by the way.
Oh, you're a Rocket man. All right.
Well, when you know your team is going to be absolutely terrible, and by that, I mean, we'll probably be 28-point underdogs in multiple games this season. You got to spread it around a bit in order to be happy. So, I'm going to keep an eye on Toledo. I'm going to keep an eye on Tulane. These other schools need fan bases as well and fans to root for them. And I need to see some positive results, man. I need to see some winning in my life. Because I know Mark Stoops isn't going to produce any winning this year for us. So it's really sad to see.
Oh, man. Can you believe that this year will be the last year Boise is in the Mountain West to join the Pac-12 next year? Well, it's basically the Pac-12 minus 10 plus 6.
Yeah, I know. They should have just done the reverse merger.
I know.
where the Pac-2 teams, Oregon State, Washington State, joined the Mountain West. And then they can deal with the branding and all that stuff. But that would have saved so much money and time and energy and effort.
I mean, like they were venting about how they're doomed and how they got poached apart. How even the ACC poached Cal and Stanford, but then they want to go and poach the Mountain West. Like my God, it's like why? Like why? Like just go team up with the Mountain West.
Right, and let's be honest. There's a reason the entire West Coast is unrepresented outside of like 4 teams in any of the major sports, and that's because they just don't care about college athletics as much as the rest of the country. I mean, the only good basketball team there's only 2 good programs out there in the West Coast, and it's Gonzaga and UCLA. Everyone else is average to below average out there. I mean, the next best school, I don't know if we consider them West Coast or not, is Arizona. Do you consider them part of the West Coast, though?
I mean, they're Southwest, really.
Yeah, I know. That's the next best school.
I mean, Oregon has a decent basketball school to real. I mean,
yeah, but they're always a bubble tournament team, and they miss it more years than they make it. In a 60-18 tournament, I can't consider you a good school if you miss the tournament more than you make in years, and especially at the P4 level.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, I would agree with you, real. Arizona most years would probably be the best team out west.
So, Austin, I was going to ask you, who's your G5 pick for this playoff with UNLV playing Idaho State?
I'm going to say this may shock you, or it may not. I'm going to say Memphis.
Okay, I mean that's one of the 8 or 10 programs that I could see. I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because they're going to have to play a Georgia or a Texas or something like that, so they're going to get killed.
Because Memphis, they quietly won 10 games last year. I know they lost their quarterback, but they've retooled a lot through the portal. I could see Memphis winning the American and getting a spot if they win 10, 11 games quietly again, especially if they got a lot of production return on the defense. So Memphis would be my G5 team for right now.
I mean, yeah, their non-conference schedule looks manageable too. I mean, their best team they play is Arkansas, but outside of that, they hardly play anybody decent. I mean, they play Tulane. Their final 3 games are somewhat tough. Tulane, East Carolina, and Navy, but they could be 7-1 entering that game.
Yeah,
8-1, so it's respectable.
The teams that I've heard to real is obviously Boise, UNLV, Tulane. I've heard some people throw Memphis out there, not too many, but those are your kind of your 4, and then you've got your dark horses of like a Fresno. Like I've seen a couple throw Fresno out there, like a way out of left field.
Yeah, Fresno State over Kansas, I think, is my week 1 upset. Somebody's going to beat somebody we don't expect. And to me, it's like
surprised if Fresno beats Kansas, to tell you the truth.
Right. I mean, you look for those G5 schools with a ton to prove, especially against the Power 4 program that I don't fully believe in yet. I mean, it's Kansas, for goodness sakes. I mean, I know they're off. Jalen Daniels? It's one of those Daniels.
Jalen Daniels.
Yeah, Jalen Daniels. I mean, he's always hurt, it feels like. And I just think I just think the injuries are just going to take a toll, and he's just not going to be as good as we remember him being. And it's sad to see because, I mean, they're Kansas, for goodness sakes. I mean, picking on Kansas feels wrong, honestly. It's because they're Kansas, but I don't expect them to have a good season at all. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up being the worst Big 12 team.
Yeah. And it's just like, here's the thing, too, Daryl. I know it's Kansas football, but man, Lance Leopold had him going good there for a minute, and I was happy for him, too. I was like, finally, Kansas football's got something to cheer about. And then it's just like, nope.
Yeah, it gives me Iowa State with Matt Campbell vibes, their program. You remember before the first time they were good for like a year or two, he didn't take a
Yep.
job, they fell off, and now they're starting to resurface. I think that's what's happening with Kansas. I think they're going to bottom out and then bounce back. But
Hmm.
when they bottom out, they're going to bottom out harder than most programs are capable of doing because their talent level's just not there.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, Darrell. And before you go for the night, Darrell, I want to ask you, Iowa State, Kansas State. What's your prediction for that game? And do you think the winner of that game will propel themselves forward to win the Big 12? How do you feel about that game since that's the headliner?
Well, I mean, nothing is too sure in the Big 12, so I'm going to make any type of bold declarations, statements like that until almost every Big 12 game has been played. Um, to me, the winner of this game obviously has a clear leg up on the rest of the conference. As I was telling Jackson, you probably have to be 6-2 to have a realistic chance of making the Big 12 title game. There will probably be some tiebreakers involved. I foresee like 1-7, and I don't think anybody's going undefeated in this league. It's the Big 12, for goodness sakes.
No.
There'll be one team that goes 7-1. There'll be like 3 or 4 that go 6-2, and there'll be a hodgepodge of 5-3, 4-4, 3-5 teams. And obviously, if you beat a projected to be decent other team in your conference, it's a massive advantage. You get the tiebreaker, you get the +1 game on them, and you get the rest of your schedule. But like I was telling Jackson, if you lose this game, you're Iowa State. It's okay, just one game. You have, you can take the Iowa game as like a preseason game because, let's be honest, none of these Big 12 teams are making the playoffs as an at-large team. They're just not good enough. So you can tune up some things, try some different things out there, and get up ready for the rest of the Big 12 season. And if you're Kansas State, you can kind of do the same thing. So I think this is a very important game. This will be the most important game for like the first month of the season, in my opinion.
That's fair. That's fair, especially within the Big 12. And I do think the winner of this game, I think it launches them forward going forward. I do, like I told Jackson when we made our prediction. I think going forward, the winner of this game, it launches us into another stratosphere. It gives them the leg up, like you said, Darrell. And I think this is as close to a must-win game as early on as you can get, because I'm not saying the loser is completely out of it, but it's just when you have that extra leg up on somebody, you can afford to stumble later on, whereas the other team has to keep playing as hard as they can to make sure they don't stumble again. If you get what I'm saying, Darrell.
Right, and like all the other big-time games don't have this level of importance. Like Texas, Ohio State, they're both in. I mean, everybody kind of just anticipates that, so it doesn't matter. Notre Dame, Miami, you're Miami, you lose this game, you still got the entire ACC. You go win those games, you're in. And for Notre Dame, as long as you're 10-2, you should be fine. And then, for LSU Clemson, I think that could be the most important game, but I don't expect Clemson to be as good as everybody expects. But if they are, they'll easily win the ACC. So it literally doesn't matter at all for them. And LSU, I mean, shoot, if you lose the game, are you really a playoff consider a caliber team in the first place? Because you're going to lose to Clemson. You probably got 3 or 4 other losses coming on the SEC schedule anyway. And LSU, to me, is that team that I got barely making the playoffs at 9-3. It could go sideways. They could finish 5-7. And it just, I mean, the potential of the wheels to fall off of that team is very high, in my opinion. So, and plus the mathematics also play a factor in this. the winner of Iowa State, Kansas State is going to have a +2 game advantage because you get the one game and then you get the tiebreaker. None of these non-conference games has that as a component.
Yeah, and that's the thing too about playing a conference game week 1 because you own a tiebreaker already, and it's just like the other teams going into the season the rest of the way kind of thinking, okay, we still need to play our schedule, but we're kind of looking at them now like, okay, where can they stumble twice? And it's just a whole hodgepodge, so to speak, like you said. And with the Big 12 derail, as you always say, you could throw a dart at the board and you wouldn't be surprised who comes out of it. You could throw a dart at the board and UCF could be the #1 team, and it wouldn't shock.
Right. Right. And that's why any conference game with the Big 12 is so important. You get the 2 games and you avoid a loss because everybody's so equal in that conference. It's not like Alabama playing Kentucky or Georgia playing Mississippi State where you pencil in. There is no pencil in games for the Big 12.
Nope. But I will say this, though, Daryl. Week 0 is going to be exciting, hopefully. But, Daryl, what do you have going on this week, good buddy? And what would you like the people to know about?
Well, I'll be calling in. I'll be in a bunch of different YouTube comment sections. I'll probably be on the Voice of College Football a few times calling in when the season starts. I'll probably be on here. I'll be tweeting out on Twitter. You can follow me on X and when I go live and on call-in shows. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. I'm thinking about posting predictions, playoff predictions, game, important games on Twitter, just to have because I hate when I call in and people say, well, you didn't predict that, or, you got no evidence to back it up because, So I like it because it's where the rubber meets the road. So that's where you can find me, and that's what I end up doing. Saturday, though, I'll be doing what everybody should be doing. That's we'll be watching some college football.
Yes. And like everyone, if you got a wedding, cancel it. If you got an anniversary, tell your wife or your honeydew, whatever you want to call her, your Pooh Bear, tell them cancel.
Or your husband.
Yes. Or your husband, too. We don't discriminate. Tell them you got to watch Farmageddon first. And you got to watch Stanford, Hawaii while you're cooking dinner. But in all seriousness, though, Daryl, we appreciate you being here as always. You're very insightful. You are what I like to call, Daryl, the Albert Einstein of college football. Very insightful and inventive. And that's a compliment.
Well, thank you, Austin. I appreciate such a honorable title thrusted upon me, but I think you may have greatly overcharacterized my knowledge when it comes to college football. But, we got the season to play out, and I'm sure we'll be wrong in a lot of aspects, and we'll be right in a bunch of others. And, everybody will only remember the wrong parts. So that'll be fun.
Yes. And like Troy V said, Einstein was a little nuts too. See, Daryl? See, even Troy, even though he knows you're nuts, it's still good to know. But in all seriousness, though, Daryl, you truly do bring great comments to the call-in, though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you all having me on. Have a great rest of your show. I look forward to it.
Thank you,
Hey,
Daryl.
man.
And with that, Jackson, if nobody else wants to call in, which that's okay too, me and Jackson have got some things of ourselves to promote, which Final Whistle will be back Saturday night after Stanford, Hawaii. Me and Jackson will be right back here once again Saturday for Final Whistles and Picks and Houses. We'll be here every week for you, breaking down games, picking games, taking call-ins not each week, but every week that we feel it's necessary. Like it's week 0, we got bored. And plus Jackson doesn't have a tee time tomorrow, so he can, because Jackson is a state golfer, But in all seriousness, though.
Oh my God, the chat's talking about something else completely different, which is fun.
Yes, so you can look for us every Wednesday night And you can look for us every Saturday night. We'll be back Saturday for Final Whistle, so be on the lookout for that. Jackson, good buddy. I know we have great stuff lined up, and we have wonderful, wonderful stuff. I mean, people, Jackson, love us. We're like the Kardashians. They love us. But you want to know what else?
I won't be loved like the Kardashians.
But you don't want to know what else what people will love too, Jackson, especially if you're an Alabama football fan. And that's Alabama at the Voice of College Football. And with exciting new additions, new changes, all that good stuff's coming to the channel. So be on the lookout for that. But Jackson, what have you got going on in that crock pot of yours this week?
Well, Jeffrey and I, as usual, are taking your calls 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday night. But, it's me, Jeffrey, and Coach Smoot. Unfortunately, Coach Burt is not with the Alabama channel anymore, but he's got better things going. Like he's much happier. Let's put it that way. And don't you worry. You'll see Coach Burt's on Jacksonian episode. I promise you that. But you'll be seeing him right. But he's doing just fine. He is doing so much better. And you can check me out on Alabama with the Voice of College Football. Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers a post about the magic that Coach Spook, Jeffrey, and I are making all right here on Alabama with the Voice of College Football Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And after every game on Alabama at the Voice of College Football. And you can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979, where with all your help, I am 318 subs away from 1,000 subscribers. Hope to get there for the end of the year. Thank you all so much for helping me get to my goal. And also, there's numerous episodes of the Jacksonian coming up, so be prepared. And if you want more updates on Alabama, the Voice of College Football, or the Jacksonian, or my once-a-week calls on the Paul Feinbaum Show, where the weekends are full of surprises, check me out on Jackson VOCFB on @/Twitter and on Instagram and threads at Jackson Johnson 543-908. Austin, what have you got going on in your world? Well, and you can also check me out on Blue Sky, Jackson Johnson 97, Blue Sky Social. Tune in for more. Austin, what you got going on in your world, good buddy?
And where the skies are blue, as Mike Debate would say. But my favorite quota. But you can find me here on Sports Talk with Austin 2002 as well, where I will be doing picks and analysis of final whistles with Jacksons on Wednesdays and Saturdays, as well as we go over the biggest games and give our biggest predictions as well. And I also got tons of videos coming out when we do our picks. I have videos and shorts coming out, throughout the season, whichever you like. And plus, you can find me on X as well, where I talk and ramble about a whole lot of things. And I've also got a brand new office, as you all can see. I just got to get some pictures and stuff. We're still working on that. Got the painting done, got the furniture, got my computer desk set up. I mean, it's a brand new setup, and y'all let me know what you think. If you like this new setup or any suggestions to add to the wall. I mean, if you want me to do a Jackson type setup, you do that too. But let me know what you think about this new setup. If y'all like it, don't like it, whichever. But that's where you can find me throughout the week and what I am doing on my personal channel. But Jackson, college football is back in full circuit on Saturday at noon. And Jackson, that means we're back in business, and we're going to be cranking it out. We're going to be rocking and rolling, good buddy. But until then, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss another great video. And with that, Jackson, we will see the great people Saturday night after Stanford and Hawaii. But we made it, folks. It's time. Go Cards.
Hold tight, everybody.